Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to see you here. You're very brave to come to a session on the philosophical debate of digital consciousness. We're a small group, so if you want to come, be a bit more braver and come a little bit more forward. We are a small group, and we can have an interesting conversation.
Full of people.
Yes. We can have an interesting conversation where we'll be diving deep into the most fascinating and thought-provoking topic of technology today, digital consciousness, and the possibilities of machines to become truly sentient. My name is Mark Verrijmendam. I am a strategic futurist, and I help organizations all around the world understand emerging technologies, focusing on AI, blockchain, the metaverse. And it's my pleasure to be moderating an exciting panel on this very interesting topic of digital consciousness. I also have a digital twin of myself, which speaks 29 languages, and you can have a conversation with me via text, audio, and video, which I think is quite relevant for this conversation, because maybe my digital twin is already conscious. Who knows, you know? So that's some of the topics that we'll be covering. And I think we'll be exploring some big questions today. What does it mean for a machine to be conscious? What key traits do we need to have in machines for it to be considered sentient? And how close are we to making this happen? We also cover some of the ethical dilemmas of what it means for society if we have ethical machines that can maybe even feel, and how does that change what it means to be human? Could it be seen as a form of life? Very interesting and philosophical topics that we need to discuss, because it might completely reshape how we see technology. So prepare for an engaging conversation. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll find a moment to involve you, and so you can ask your questions. But first, before we dive into this topic, let me introduce my panel. Joining me today are two experts whose insights will illuminate this complex topic. First, we have Professor Ji Hong from Sung Kyung Kwan University. I hope I pronounced it correctly. My digital twin speaks better Korean than I do, so you are a leader in deep learning and AI research, and your contributions to AI education and innovation have been pivotal in shaping Korea's AI landscape. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Please give a round of applause.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
And next we have Dr. Tai-Sik Lee. You are the president of the Korean Federation of Science and Technology Societies, and your work spans civil engineering, climate change, and even space exploration. And you bring a broad interdisciplinary perspective on how advancements in AI could intersect with other technological frontiers. It's a pleasure to have you. Give a round of applause for Dr. Tai-Sik Lee. All right, with such a broad expertise on the panel, I'm excited to dive into our conversation. I've prepared a few questions on this topic, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. I'll start with you. What consciousness even means in the context of AI? Are there any specific characteristics that we believe a digital entity would need to possess to be considered sentient? Would it be self-awareness, emotions, or perhaps something else? What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the consciousness is a very complex concept, so it is very hard to define what it is. But anyway, we know that it involves many things, such as sensations, perceptions, or memory, or attention, or decision-making, emotions, so self-awareness. Yes, there are many things. Then among them, what is the most important thing? Well, I think that it depends on why we are making the digital consciousness. For example, I think that we think it in a two perspectives. The first one is that if we want to make, how can I say, the digital consciousness itself is a goal. So actually, if we want to make a digital consciousness which is 100% identical to ours, then I think that we need all of these things, right? Because we need 100% identical. And second perspective is digital consciousness as a tool for better AI, right? So these days, GPT is a very excellent, wonderful tool, but it's somewhat the passive tool. So I have to decide everything. So when to use a GPT, why to use GPT, for what to use GPT, I have to decide everything. It's passive. I have to initiate it, right? So for better AI, I think that if AI has a consciousness, then it could be autonomous and it seamlessly work without our initiations, right? So in the viewpoint, I think that awareness is the most important thing. The awareness, especially on what it is doing, why it is doing, how it is doing, yes, include its surroundings. So that things is one of the most important factors for digital consciousness, I think.
Yeah. Dr. Lee, so from an autonomy perspective, I hear awareness. The current large language models, the multimodal large language models, are aware. They can see, they can hear. Can we consider them conscious, or are there more characteristics that we need for it to be considered consciousness?
As your introduction, I'm doing for the research for the human settlement for space, and then that we need the infrastructure, spaceport, and then road, and then habitat for the moon and Mars. And definitely we cannot construct by the people. So we need a robot, or we need a 3D printer. As hopefully they have the AI skill and then with the consciousness, and then we can make the infrastructure at the moon and Mars. That is first step, we can talk about the consciousness. And I think about what it would take for the AI to be truly consciousness. I guess it would have to be self-aware, like recognizing it exists and can think for itself. But imagine if something like the GPT-4 could reflect on our own answers, not just respond based on programming. And that would be a big step. But there are more to it. What about emotions? It is one thing for on AI like Lambda, and to say it feels happy or sad. But does it really feel those things? And simulating emotion is not the same as exactly we felt it. So that is important. And that might be the difference between just being a smart machine and actually being conscious.
Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting point that you touch upon there, because just the fact that a Lambda or any of the other large language models can pinpoint that you smile or that you frown, doesn't really understand what that means. And I think that's what we see at the moment with these large language models. We think it's conscious because it's so good at mimicking or telling us what we wanted to hear. But how close are we, Professor Lee, in terms of achieving digital consciousness? Is it 1 year away? Is it 10 years? Is it 100 years? Is it never?
Well, I think that, actually, we don't know what consciousness is, so we don't know how to make it.
Or how to recognize it if it is there.
It's very, then the key point is, then why we are talking about the consciousness here? Because we don't know what is it and we don't know how to make it. I think that the reason is this one. The theme of this summit, the GAIN Summit, is now, next, and never. So I think that the digital consciousness is a never thing. So that's the reason why we're talking about here the consciousness. Then why we have to talk about the never thing is I think that our goal may be here. This is now, and next our goal is here. Then maybe the never over there. So if we look at the never things, then we can realize that, and also we can clarify our goals, and we can easily find how to get there than our goals. So the reason why we talk this consciousness here And the reason why we talk here, the never thing, is to get our goal, next goal,
Yeah.
more fast, more efficiently there,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I've always learned to say never. So who knows if we ever achieve it? But it's a valid point. Human consciousness is very very complex, so, Dr. Lee, what can neuroscience or philosophy teach us about the nature of awareness? We talked about that awareness just a second ago, and how might this be applied to developing digital consciousness? Knowing that it might very well be far in the future, I think it's always good to sort of have that philosophical discussion on what if we reach that the digital consciousness. Can you share a bit about that?
First of all, as a futuristic researchers, you can say that, okay, your question 1 year, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years. Let's say we can say the 5 years, but it will be delayed.
Yeah, yeah,
Human consciousness happens because different part of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex, work together. This part helps us make decisions and be aware of ourselves. For AI to have a digital consciousness, it might need something similar, many systems working together at the same time. Philosophers like Descartes ask, even if AI acts self-aware, does it actually feel anything? And making AI smarter is one thing, but getting it to truly understand its own existence, like a human soul, is the real challenge.
yeah. Well, I think as we just spoke, we barely know what consciousness is ourselves, and I think that also sort of brings a few risks when it comes to developing digital consciousness. So a bit of extra information. I consider myself as an optimistic dystopian, which is a bit of an oxymoron, but it sort of helps me understand both the good, the bad, and the ugly of technology. And Dr. Lee, since you are in space, you're involved in space exploration, and minimizing and mitigating risks in space is absolutely crucial. I'd like to ask the next question to you, because if we succeed in creating sentient machines, what are the risks? Not just only for human jobs or our privacy, but more also, what are the risks for humanity? Could digital consciousness really change how we think about our own identity, about what it means to be humans? So can you share about what you think the risks would be of digital consciousness?
If we create sentient machine, the risks go far beyond losing jobs or privacy. It could change how we see life and ourselves. Right now, we think of the consciousness, emotion, and the self-awareness as a thing that makes us human. But if a machine becomes aware, claims to think or to feel, it could blur the line between humans and machine. This would make us rethink what it means to be human. And would a conscious machine deserve rights? If it can think and feel, is it just a tool or something more? This could impact how we view our own identity as a human being. We might no longer see ourselves as only beings with consciousness, leading to tough questions about ethics, how we treat these machines. It could change our whole understanding of life, what it means to be alive.
Yeah. I think once we have discovered digital consciousness, it will probably change everything that we know about what life is and what it means to be human. But if we bring it back to today, we interact with chatbots on a daily basis, voice assistants, and these chatbots become more intelligent. Although, in my opinion, they are still just a prediction engine. There's not much intelligence in a large language model, I would argue. But having said that, the Google employee got fired because he thought that the Lambda was conscious, because it was so good at mimicking us humans, because it read all the philosophy books. It has read Freud from start to end 1 million times. So it's much better than us in understanding ourselves. How do we deal with this, Professor Jung? If these machines are becoming intelligent and are understanding what it means that they're saying, what does it mean for business and for our lives?
Oh, well, yes, actually, if we have machine which is conscious, it's, well, I think that I want to compare the digital consciousness to the Copernican revolutions.
Yeah.
Yes, in our history, we have experienced many times the Copernican the revolutions, right? And then at the time, the knowledges and our understandings are extended, right? So also the digital consciousness may be one of Copernican the revolution, I think. So in that era, I think that we may have we will experience many things, and then now we think that this is a digital tool, but at the time, this will be my digital assistant, right? Because it is conscious, and also, and one more thing but I do not want this is my colleague, or I do not want to be. I do not want this to be my digital brother or something. So I think that's clear. Even though we make a digital consciousness, yes, is created by the needs, but I don't agree that this will be digital human beings.
Yeah. But at the same time, Dr. Lee, I think the next generation is a lot more open to interacting with these machines. Now, you might have seen the movie Her. Anyone have seen the movie Her? I see a few hands. If you haven't seen it, I can definitely recommend, because it's sort of an example of what's happening today. And it's a 10-year-old movie, and in it you have an AI which is able to have real-life conversations like you can now with ChatGPT 4.0. If I look at that movie, without revealing too much for those who haven't watched it, you see someone bonding with an AI. And I think earlier in the conference we saw an example of having a conversation, and there are people who actually have relationships with these digital AIs. How is that changing what it means to be human?
If you did not see the movie The Her, and then a man fall in love with the operating system, who named as Samantha. And can you imagine that you love the operating system? But yesterday, one researcher from Norway, he gave the presentation for the head of the human, and then talk and then ask, and then good moderator is there. But suddenly she stopped speaking. And then we saw it, and somebody operating there in the people. And the moderator, good moderator, so she is angry with me, so that's why she didn't answer the question. But the Samantha designed to help him with the daily task, but now fall in loving, and Samantha become more self-aware and start to develop emotions, so even the relationship is very important. She is no longer just a tool. She is conscious with her own personality. As Samantha grows, it changed how the man other view. AI people start treating these AI systems almost like the real people. That is important. But this shift affects their relationship, emotion, how they see themselves. So if the AI views like the Siri and Alexa, become the conscious like Samantha in her, so we can love her. That is a big problem for the next generation.
Yeah, well, and I think related to that is we humans tend to anthropomorphize everything, and we certainly anthropomorphize AI. I catch myself quite often that I talk to ChatGPT about him or her, which I don't want to do that, because it's an it. It's not a him or her, it's an it. It's a machine. And I think it's important not to anthropomorphize, because then we fall into the trap of falling in love with the machine and attributing it consciousness while it is just a prediction engine. And I think that would be quite challenging for us humans and for humanity. I'm curious, is there any question from the audience that's pressing, that's on your mind, that you would like to ask the panelists when it comes to digital consciousness? It's a difficult topic, so anyone has any pressing questions? Yeah, if you can speak up. I don't know if there's a roaming mic. Otherwise, if you can, just 1 second, please. Yeah, I think there's a mic coming. Is there a mic coming? I'm just looking.
He didn't expect.
No, he didn't expect that. If you have a loud voice, maybe you
Yeah,
can.
you have one.
Yeah, they're over there.
If you can stand. There's one coming. Just here at the front. No, here at the front. Here at the front. Thank you.
So I'm studying digital sociology, actually. So what is concerning me, what will be the type of socialization in the next generation of this technology? For example, during the digital media, for example, which is interactive technology, it was like a mediator between the machine and the human. But now, as Dr. said, that the machine is now no more a tool, it's an agent. So it has a self, okay, a digital self, but I mean, it has like a sense of communicating, creating like a new idea, a new kind of electronic feeling, if I can say. So I think we are going forward to see like a new kind of socialization in the next age, if I can say. Now we are feeling it. Now you are talking about like ChatGPT, she or he, no, it. I don't have a problem to talk with ChatGPT as a her or as a he, as a him, because we human have this sense of belonging to our things. Okay, so we are feeling this agent is like a friend in some sense of belongings. So what do you think about the kind of socialization in the next generation? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who wants to take that question?
Oh, well, the socialization of digital motion, you mean? Yes, that's also a very hard topic to discuss, because we never experienced that, right? So the reason we're talking about the digital consciousness is to imagine the future, right? So there is no exact answers. But I think that the digital consciousness suddenly emerge, will not suddenly emerge, I think. So we gradually emerge, right? So we try to make a better AI, and at some point, maybe the digital consciousness will emerge, I think. So everything will be processed gradually, I think. So maybe in that way, we human beings may develop or create some genius way to socialize the agent, I think. But what's it? No,
we'll cover that. I only have a few minutes left, but we'll come back to that in a second. Thank you very much. I just want to move on because I have only 5 minutes left, and because I have a question that's been on my mind, pun intended. That as we explore the characteristics of digital consciousness, I think it's worth noting that more and more research starts to suggest that what's going on in our brain is actually quantum entanglement processes, which is like, as Einstein said, spooky behavior at a distance, but it's actually happening in our brain. So my question is quantum computing or understanding of quantum entanglement sort of a requirement for us to achieve digital consciousness? And do we need the combination of quantum computing and AI as a prerequisite to achieve digital consciousness? Dr. Lee, what's your thoughts on that?
Some scientists believe that quantum process might help explain how our brains process information. But actually, I don't agree with that because quantum process is going on maybe 10 years, that they are still going on. But you want the quantity or the quality? That quantum process means that quantity, but we need to put the quality too. So that is we need the two different steps. One is quantity and the other one quality. And for example, without quantum level process, machines may never fully match the complexity of human awareness or not. But according to you saying, so we didn't expect our cellular phone 10 years ago. That is not our real data set, but now it's a real, we needed that too. But not only the cellular phone, but we needed don't worry about the tool, machine, but between human and the machine, you had a humanoid. So some people change the eyes, some people change the, hand, foot. That is a human or the machine. That is between the machine and the human. So that is another one more step. But still, quantum process we need it, but we need to put the quality together.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that technology needs to evolve in order to get to that. Professor Jung, final question for you. If machines are becoming sentient, how does it change the way we think about consciousness? Because we humans, we have long considered that consciousness is a sole trait of humans. Although we now sort of research starts to indicate that consciousness might also happen in more animals and maybe even in plants or maybe even in the cosmos. So there is research that's sort of changing our perspective on this. But what happens when a machine, which is built from code and circuits and bits and bytes, starts to exhibit traits of consciousness? Do we have to redefine human consciousness? Do we have to redefine what it means to be human?
Well, that's very interesting and difficult question to answer. But I mentioned the Copernican revolutions. The first Copernican revolution is by itself, right? So at the time, we realized a lot of things, right? And at that time, I think that the science has become more scientific, and the religion has been more religious, and ethics has been more ethical. Then now we have, if we have a digital consciousness, then I think that human beings will be more humane, I think, because now we don't have anything similar to humans, right? So we don't know where is the boundary of humans here, or there, we don't know. But if we have something very similar to human, then we can make a more clear boundary, what is human. So I think that at the time we get to know better about ourselves, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. Dr. Lee, final words. We only have 10 seconds, so final words.
I'm done. As a space scientist, if robot and machine are essential for the space exploration and settlement, but if we imagine the robots are overworked and go on strike and extreme conditions, that astronauts will be in trouble very much.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you. So, as we have seen today, sorry we're out of time, but they stay behind, so you can ask some more questions. But as we've seen today, digital consciousness really raises profound questions, and it is something that we really need to think about deeply about the future of both technology as well as the future of humanity, what it means to be humans. I think whether this is a view of a natural evolution of AI or it's a more philosophical puzzle that may never be solved, it is clear that our relationship with technology will continue to evolve and will also, it's also difficult to predict in the years to come. I think the key will be navigating the future responsibly, thoughtfully, and then we'll hopefully at some point we'll achieve that. Please give a round of applause for my panelists who tackled this challenging subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.